The delegation of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, concluded a work visit to Haiti in search of solutions to the current economic and social crisis in the country. In Belgium, Kosovo and Serbia agreed to the European Union's proposal for the normalization of relations between the two sides. And also in Nigeria, vote counting continues after Saturday's general elections. The main opposition parties rejected the first preliminary results issued by the Independent National Electoral Commission. From the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada, in TeleSUR News. On Monday, the delegation of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, to the Caribbean island concluded a work visit to Haiti, intended to find solutions to the current economic and social crisis. The Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, who traveled to at the head of the group, assured that after a day of meetings with private, public, religious and political organizations, the urgency of re-establishing a secure environment and protecting the population from the actions of criminal gangs was clear. The President stressed that these perspectives must be supported by an organic democracy, creating institutions, structures and an organization that will result in the re-establishment of stability in Haiti, as well as the promotion of consensus. The international delegation also held a meeting with senior officials of the Haitian National Police to discuss effective strategies to address the security challenges. Commemorated 34 years of the popular rebellion of February 27th, known as the Caracazo and National Human Rights Day. On Monday, thousands of citizens remembered the events of February 27, 1989, which arose as a popular protest against corruption, the increase in the price of fuel, the increase in the price of public transportation fares, and the repression against demonstrators.
There lies the rebellious and anti-imperialist spirit of February 27th, of February 4th, of November 27th, story that translates into what has been the vindication of our historical roots of our father Simón Bolívar.
And now we move on to other topics. Argentina's economy minister has announced the World Bank financing amounting to $450 million. According to the Latin American Treasury, this is the equivalent of 2 loans to the country in order to invest in education and sustainable urban development. The loans will be repaid to the World Bank over a time or a period of more than 31 years. There will be a grace period of about 8 years. The Minister of Economy, Sergio Massa, said that he was pleased to have the support of the World Bank to help finance educational inclusion, launch a habitat program, and improve the living condition of Argentines. On Monday, President Luis Ignacio Lula da Silva and Health Minister Nízia Trinidad participated in the beginning of the bivalent anti-COVID-19 vaccination campaign launched in the capital of Brazil. The Brazilian Ministry of Health began to apply the bivalent anti-COVID-19 vaccine in 17 states, which improves immunity against the original Omicron variants and the BA.1 sublineage of the SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus. Initially, the drug will be applied only to people over 70 years, immunocompromised patients, indigenous and riverside peoples, and the quilombolas or Afro-Brazilians. In the United States, another demonstration of love and solidarity for the Cuban people and against the U.S. sanctions on Cuba took place on Sunday, February 26, in Miami, Florida.
Dozens of activist members of U.S. patriotic immigration organizations went to the streets of Miami to demand that Washington remove Cuba from the list of countries that sponsor terrorism. For Professor Carlos Lasso, leader of Bridges of Love, the message for President Joe Biden is clear.
Down with the blockade. Take Cuba off of the list of terrorist countries. Build bridge of love between the people of Cuba and the USA. Look at the joy here. Look at the party.
The activists recalled that hundreds of terrorist acts have been committed against Cuba. As an example, they remember the events in the coastal town of Boca de Sama in the municipality of Banas in the province of Holguin, when in the early morning of October 12 of 1971, a group of terrorists who crewed two pirates' boats from Florida cruelly attacked the civilian population, leaving dead and wounded.
Here we are in the last Sunday, as in every single month of the last Sunday, with a caravan in favor of the Cuban family, in favor of the Cuban people. Down with the blockade. Let's end the sanctions that are hurting the Cuban people. President Biden, listen, it's time to end the sanctions. The Cuban people are suffering. Down with the blockade.
Every last Sunday of the month, this initiative takes place in Miami and other U.S. cities. The caravanners consider that the people of Cuba and the U.S. can have better relations in all sectors, as happened during the Obama era, where there was a better relationship between the two countries. From Havana, Cuba, Irma Shelton, TeleSUR English.
Now we address other topics. In Peru, a poll shows that the majority of the population rejects Dina Boluarte's government, believing that Congress led a coup d'etat against Pedro Castillo amid police repression that left more than 60 people dead. The results of a poll published on Sunday by the Peruvian Studies Institute show that rejection of the president has risen to 77%, and 73% think Boluarte should resign. Similarly, another study shows that 51% of Peruvians think Congress carried out a coup d'etat against Pedro Castillo. The study also shows that the rejection of the Congress has reached 90%. At the same time, 69% of Peruvians are on the opinion that it will be appropriate to hold general elections this year. The Bolivian government has reached a temporary agreement with the Peruvian authorities and citizens who are maintaining the road blockade on their common border to allow vehicles to enter Bolivian territory without paying fines or tolls. Bolivia's Vice Minister of Foreign Trade, Benjamin Blanco, said that the temporary passage began on Saturday with pedestrians and light vehicles entering Bolivia and was extended to heavy trucks on Sunday. According to the official, at least 300 lorries have been stuck in Peru for more than 50 days. For this reason, they are making the necessary efforts to enter the national territory. Let's take a short break, but first, remember you can follow us on our TikTok account at TeleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates and more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. On Monday, Egypt's Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry paid a visit to Turkey as a show of solidarity after the devastating earthquakes that claimed tens of thousands of lives in Turkey and in neighboring Syria. The Egyptian official was received at Mersin Airport by his Turkish counterpart Mevlut Cavusoglu. The Turkish foreign minister praised the support and solidarity that Egypt displayed immediately after the deadly earthquakes and emphasized that the two countries were opening a new chapter in relations. In this regard, Cavusoglu also referred to the fruitful meeting between Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and his Egyptian counterpart Abdel Fattah al-Sisi held in Doha, Qatar last November. And in the aftermath of the that 6 February earthquake, relations between Syria and its Arab neighbors have shown a marked and accelerated improvement. This is evidenced by the steady stream of visits to Damascus by government officials and Arab parliamentarians, in addition to the caravans of Arab humanitarian aid reaching the Syrian people. Let's see.
The 27th, President Bashar al-Assad received a message of solidarity from his Egyptian counterpart, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. The message was conveyed by Egyptian Foreign Minister Samet Shoukry. During a meeting with his Syrian counterpart, Faisal al-Mekdad, the Egyptian Foreign Minister also stressed the depth of the relationship between the two brotherly people. He expressed the Egyptian people's desire to see Syria overcome this crisis as soon as possible.
The Syrian people have human and brotherly relations with the Egyptian people, so we are here to support our brothers in Syria. We have been coordinating with the Syrian government since the first days of the earthquake. Shoukry is with his people in Syria, and his talks with President al-Assad were about the historical relations between the two fraternal countries and the repercussions of the disaster, highlighting the great role played by the government and people of Egypt to provide aid and solidarity to the people of Syria in order to help them face the disastrous consequences of the disaster.
The day before, the Syrian leader received a large delegation from the Arab Parliamentary Union. The members of the delegation reaffirmed that Syria is indispensable in its Arab environment and that it is imperative to restore its influential and creative role in the Arab arena. The Arab parliamentarians expressed to the Syrian parliament their solidarity with the Syrian people and their determination to support their Syrian brothers in overcoming the difficult situation they are suffering as a result of the war, the blockade, and the earthquake.
Many Arab countries suffer huge problems. It is high time for the Arab peoples to join efforts in the face of adversity, and we, as parliamentary presidents, represent the will of our respective peoples and work to push our governments to greater cooperation and rapprochement to reach our goal of helping these peoples, led by Syria and its people who have suffered a lot. We are here to confirm the prominent role of the Syrian sister in the joint Arab action and in leading this action and in playing her active role in the Arab arena once again, as President Bashar al-Assad said and as we affirm, determined to close the pages of the past and open a new page of strengthening the joint Arab action that will lead us back to being as before, a single united Arab nation.
We are here today in our beloved Syria to express our solidarity with our Syrian brothers and to reaffirm our support for these worthy people in the face of the challenges they face, especially those suffered by Syria as a result of the recent earthquake. And we do so by expressing the will of our wise leadership in the United Arab Emirates.
In the wake of February the 6th earthquake, Syria is once again the destination of numerous delegations from Arab and foreign countries who are coming to Syrian soil not only to show their solidarity, but also to re-establish relations with Damascus after more than a decade of rupture due to the war and the blockade.
Hisham Wannous, TeleSUR, Damascus, Syria.
And in a session of the Arab Inter-Parliamentary Union, Iraqi Parliament Speaker Mohammed al-Halbouzi called for solidarity with Syria, following a 7.8 magnitude earthquake that hit the region on February the 6th.
What do you see from the initial scene? Apparently, the bomb was rigged to a motorcycle and was detonated by remote control. The entire motorcycle was destroyed. Teams have arrived on the scene and collected evidence. We are trying to find out what caused it.
And we have more news coming up after a final short break. But you can now watch TeleSUR English in 33 different African countries through StarSat. Dial 461 and enjoy our Latin American alternative broadcast. Welcome back. The leaders of Kosovo and Serbia have agreed that no further negotiations are required on the European Union's proposal for the normalization of relations between the two sides. Following a meeting in Brussels with Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić and the Prime Minister of the self-proclaimed Republic of Kosovo, Albin Kurti, the head of the European diplomacy said that the leaders of the two regions supported the European Union's plan that will allow the movement of their citizens through both territories carrying internal identity documents.
Leaders have shown responsible behavior and readiness to find solutions. And I am pleased to announce that President Vučić and Prime Minister Kurti have today agreed that no further discussions are needed for the European Union proposal. It's positive to say that both parties have agreed to refrain from any uncoordinated action that could lead to renewed tensions on the ground and derail these negotiations. I hope it will happen like this and no uncoordinated actions could jeopardize the continuation of the work in process.
Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev welcomed Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov for talks in Baku on Monday.
Regional security remains a very important topic in our relations, and not only at our bilateral level. Many of our international colleagues, including those located far away from this region, express a lively interest to facilitate progress towards the settlement between Azerbaijan and Armenia. As President Vladimir Putin said repeatedly, we welcome many efforts that are interested in establishing the situation and creating the conditions for all the countries in the region to cooperate in the interest of their people with mutual respect and mutual benefit.
On Monday, the leaders of the United Kingdom and the European Council completed the agreement on the Northern Ireland Protocol to ease trade disagreements resulting from Brexit. The UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, signed the pact aimed at lessening the effects of the breakup in 2020. The British Prime Minister highlighted the main events or achievements of the new instrument, such as the elimination of barriers to trade, the removal of all borders between the two sides in the Irish Sea, and the guarantee of Northern Ireland's membership with the United Kingdom. And we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media for all the latest news. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, as always, I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.